welcome to my channel. The thing that people overlook, the thing that people disregard, the thing that people think that coaches shouldn't talk about because it's demotivating and it doesn't help and it doesn't make you feel good in the moment. And no, it probably doesn't, but it's so important, and it's the most important part of the manifestation process. And that's why it's why you manifest things into your life that you haven't thought too much about, hasn't been much resistance over, they've manifested really, really quickly. And it's because you are detached. At least 60% of the time you are detached. You do not need to be detached 100% of the time, but 60% is a good ratio. 60 detached, 40 pretty detached, feeling a bit rubbish, feeling a bit doubtful, feeling a bit fearful, feeling disappointed, frustrated. But as long as you are dominant on detachment, that is when things start changing. So that should be, I believe that should be everybody's intention, to be more detached, because being more detached makes you feel better, makes you feel good, makes you feel optimistic and a bit excited about things 60% of the time. That's hugely doable. That is doable for most of us. But you see things like you do not have to be detached to manifest. Well, maybe you don't, but I have never spoken to anybody that's manifesting something sustainable with being really, really attached to the outcome. So really attached to the outcome means that you're stuck in the energy of not having it, stuck in the energy of what 3D is now without it in it. It's energetic, that's all it is. And I spoke about this in my last video, but you may not have got till the end of that. It was quite a long video, and the end of it was saying, look, this is how you practice detachment. You watch a Netflix show and you really think, I'm going to really focus on this, whatever it is. I'm not going to be 50% watching it, 50% thinking about this thing that I want. And every time I feel myself drifting off, I'm going to bring myself back to the moment. You'll notice then you go some periods of time within that show where it's not in your conscious awareness, you're starting to detach. You do something during your day that you always enjoy. It's a routine thing, but you do it because you enjoy it. Like with me, it's my bath in the evening. So I have a bath, an hour in the evening, and I just detach from everything. I just let things come in and they go out again. I don't spend too much time thinking about anything unless it's something I want to think about. That's my time. So I really enjoy that. I'm detached mostly within that time. So you do something like that whatever that thing is that you enjoy, that's part of your daily routine, you give it momentum, you do it, you really feel it as you're doing it. If it's a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a can of Coke, whatever it is that you enjoy drinking during the day, you really think about it as you're doing it. I'm really enjoying this. I really enjoy this part of my day. This is a great part of my day. It could be a bit more than that. You could really enjoy your lunch break at work where you just take that break. You could really enjoy chatting to your friends online, or whatever it is. Whilst you're doing it, you really decide to throw yourself into it, and that is going to be your time when you purely focus on that one thing that you are doing, and that is going to aid your detachment overall. You are practicing detachment there. Before you do any of that, just state, I intend to be 60, you could say 60 to 70%. Let's just start with 60. I intend to be 60% detached from outcomes, just outcomes in general. We're going to make this really, really general. 60% detached from outcomes. So you've set that intention, you've got real clarity on that. You need to really feel that and really know that that's what you want. Don't be scared of detachment. It's the best feeling in the world because you don't feel hung up on things. You want things, and sometimes you might look for them a bit, but you're not hung up on them showing up. You kind of feel that they probably will. There's a 95% chance that they will show up at some point. There's a 100% chance really, but 95% has always really worked for me. And but you kind of like notice that you have lots of time during the day where you're really focused on other things that you're doing, and it's not in your conscious awareness. When that thing that you want isn't in your conscious awareness 100% of the time, when it starts coming down, which it will probably, it might happen really, really fast when you do this, or it might happen slower, but it'll come down maybe to 95%, then 90, then 85, then 80. I mean, once you've got down to 70, you know, you're really getting there, and you can feel those percentages within. If you try and say, how much percentage am I detaching? And you'll be able to feel it. Even if that sounds weird to you, you will be able to. So do that and keep a monitor of it, and make it your project to start feeling more detached, because that is when your life starts to change. Honestly, I mean, I see this all of the time because I've been speaking to people online all over the world, all over the globe for about 3 years now, and it's the same pattern over and over again. I might work with a person for like 6 months. I've worked with people for longer than that, just for ongoing support and accountability, that kind of thing. But let's say I might work with somebody for 6 months, and they really, really want whatever it is that they want, person, job, whatever. And they can be really wanting to let go, but a bit scared of letting go. So they're not really intending to detach, partly, and then they kind of get fearful again, and so grab onto it again and start doing more techniques and affirming more. But eventually they do get to that point. Eventually something clicks and they suddenly go, oh my God, yeah, I need to do that. That's when they get success every single time. Really, when they properly detach. I mean, I've had such lovely emails from people that I haven't like spoken to for a year or so, that all of a sudden all of these things are happening for them, you know, whether it's getting married, which does happen, which is great, sometimes to a specific person. Sometimes they've let that go and they're marrying somebody else, that, you know, they've met somebody else. The job that they've wanted, the new house that they've wanted to move to that they thought they could never afford. I get that, you know, and it's just amazing to me. And it's always, they will always say, yeah, you were right about detachment. I got to this point, I got to that point, and then I decided, yeah. And sometimes as I'm working with people, they start detaching and then things start happening for them. It's always at that point of 60% detachment. And often I'll speak to people and they'll go, but I still feel like I'm pretty attached. Well, yeah, well, you will have an element of attachment to something when you really want it. You always will have, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. I do. You know, I do always have an element of attachment. Sometimes I can go an hour or so really thinking about it and feeling like I don't have it still. But I just don't worry about it because I think, well, you know, in a couple of hours' time I'll be over that. I just don't worry about it. It's just part of really wanting something. You are going to have some attachment. And as my book says, it's degrees of attachment. It's all about degrees of attachment. You know, once you start coming down from your 100%, you're probably at about, some people will be at about 95%. That's huge. And you just need to really intend it and really feel that, yes, I do want that element of detachment because I want to feel better, because I don't like this. Being hugely attached like that is not a nice feeling. It really isn't. And once you start really accepting that you want to be detached, that you want that detachment, then you start actually receiving that. When you start actually accepting that detachment is key, you can then set a real intention with feeling behind it and really, really want it. And when you really, really want something and you really intend for it with clarity, that's when things start shifting. And detachment is no different than anything else.